Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, here to do some stand-up comedy. Please welcome Mr. Scott Shaffer.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Dustin. Really appreciate it. Can you understand me? Okay, great. Whitest guy here. Of course you can understand. Guys, how are we doing tonight? It was good to be here. I was reading something the other day. I don't know if you guys saw this. Did you guys see or read the article about the woman who got a third boob implanted in between her other two working boobs? No? You can look it up. I promise it's real. I'm not making this up. But I read that, and I had to figure out what was her motivation for this. And apparently she needed to get this third boob implant because she was tired of being asked out on dates, and she wanted men to leave her alone because she thought that would make her unattractive. Bitch, you don't know how much we love boobs, apparently. Because at a certain point, I was reading that, and the only thing I could think of was the three-titted girl from Total Recall, and I got crazy horny. And you know how much that one boob cost? It was $20,000 for one boob to make you unattractive. Here's how I know that would not make me think that you're unattractive. And that's because, 3 years ago, I was at a bar, drunk, completely drunk, but I spent the entire night there hitting on a girl with 3 of something else. She had 3 fingers total. Like she almost had more palm than she had working digits. It was insane. And so I know that I won't even flinch if I see a third boob because I've spent the entire night trying to have sex with a girl who can't even work a fucking light switch. It's weird because at a certain point, ladies, here's a little tip. If you want to add something surgically to your body that'll repulse all of us men, you better make it a dick. And I don't even care where you put it. Side ponytail that shit. Put a scrunchie on it. Bedazzle it. I don't give a fuck. We're not talking. Bedazzle a dick. Be a weird doctor thing to have. Like you're putting dicks on everybody. A lot of people think that since I'm a comedian that I have to have that stereotypical thing where I hate my parents and I talk about them and I make fun of them. That's not a true statement at all. I love my parents. I think they, if anything, I screwed up in life. They were great. But it always makes me think about them. And one of my most fondest memories about my parents is that growing up, I always knew when my dad made breakfast for me because he'd use the icing on my toaster strudel to write out the words, "You're a faggot." Because my dad has thought I was gay from the age of 13 till whatever you see right now. And I say that because I overheard my mom and my dad talking one time. My mom was like, "You know what? Scott just hasn't found the right woman yet." To which my dad's response was, "It's kind of hard to find the right woman when you love dick." To which my response was, "This is the worst Thanksgiving dinner ever." To which my brother's response was, "This is the greatest Thanksgiving dinner ever." Now I get it. Looking back, I even thought I was gay, to be honest. Because at a certain point, I recognized the fact that in my small town, while all my other friends were working 18-hour days on the farm, I was just at the local pool getting a killer tan. No one looked at me with my puka shell necklace and frosted tips and thought to themselves, "Oh yeah, that guy's swimming in pussy." No, it wasn't happening. But no matter what, everyone knew where I was at when it came to Summer League baseball. Mainly because I was the only idiot in right field doing cartwheels and singing Summer Lovin' from Grease. Because that's my goddamn jam. I love that song. And I know you guys will not be surprised to hear this when I tell you that I was the lead in a Grease play that summer. So you can imagine how pumped my dad was to see his youngest son star as Sandra Dee. But I wasn't gay when I was 13. I just went through a phase where I thought I was gay. You know, that's kind of the thing. But I went through a lot of phases when I was 13. I went through a Samuel L. Jackson phase for a little bit. That was where I walked around with a backwards Kangol hat and called everyone I saw a motherfucker. Nowadays, the gayest thing about me is the fact that I have a 10-inch dildo attached to the front end of my car just in case I rear end some guy with truck nuts. I'm pretty sure my parents thought I was gay and that's why they sent me to church camp. Did anyone in here go to church camp? Yeah, one sinner back there, all right. No, if you don't know what church camp is, here's what church camp is. Church camp is basically a week-long retreat where 13-year-old Christians go to interact with other Christians, talk about God, and touch each other's private parts because when you're 13, you're horny for no goddamn reason. And they just throw you in the middle of nowhere, and you have no parental guidance. You just have a church camp counselor, and that's it. And here's why I couldn't take my church camp counselor serious. If you guys leave here believing one thing that I say tonight, please believe me when I tell you that my church camp counselor's name was Richard Sack. You ever seen a 13-year-old boy keep a straight face when some Christian man tells him that his Christian name is Dick Sack? No, I couldn't stop laughing either, because I just was hoping and praying to our God that he was married to some woman named like Titties McNipples or some shit like that. Now this guy, Dick Sack was a good guy. I'm just gonna call him Dick Sack from now on. He was a good guy, you just wouldn't know it by like what he was wearing. He was always wearing like tight hiker shorts, like a mesh tank top, and like a beard that it was touching his balls at all points. If you ever thought to yourself, what does a Christian porn star look like? Dick Sack was it. And if any of you went to church camp, you know that 95% of what they teach you at church camp is that masturbation is a sin. Which means at 13, you're just on like a zip line to hell. Because I'm 31 and I'm still riding that same ride right now. But at a certain point, a counselor tried to compromise with us. And it was Dick Sack, let's be honest, it was Dick Sack. Dick Sack tried to compromise with it by saying it's not the act of masturbation that's the sin, it's the impure thought within your mind. So what he's trying to say is we can all take ourselves to Pound Town just as long as we're free of sexual thought. However, explain that to my parents when they caught me masturbating in the sports center. They walk in the room, they're like, Scott, what are you doing? I'm like, just trying to be a better Christian, Mom. You know how many Hail Marys you have to say for jizzing on your mom? One, actually. Catholics are weird. Here's the two things about that. I'm not actually Catholic, I just love that joke. But at a certain point, you're wondering, have I told that joke in front of my parents? Yes, I have told that joke in front of my parents. Didn't go well. Shocker. But the joke landed, people laughed. So I get off stage and I walk into the bar area, and my dad is quickly behind me. And I turn around, thinking he's gonna congratulate me. And he just starts in on me, he's like, hey, that joke about your mom, and like right as he says that, in my mind I'm like, oh no, he did not take that as a joke. Mom was probably upset. Now he's here to yell at me, just take your tongue lashing. So I just let him go. He's like, hey, that joke about your mom, really? Hail Marys, you and people thinking that you're Catholic? I'm like, that's what you had a problem with in my joke? Thanks a lot, guys. I'm Scott Shaffer.